Hello to all my story lovers. Welcome back in Storytime channel. I'm Pallavi reading interesting books for you. Today I'm reading chapter number 7, No Place Like Home from the 3000 Teachers. Written by the great Sudha Murty. Now let's go to the chapter. Infosys Foundation is involved in various types of construction projects like building dharamshalas for poor patients and their caretakers, schools for children in remote areas, houses for the thousands who suffer in calamities such as cyclones and floods, and the toilets for the both schools and the public use in an effort to encourage cleanliness in our country. From its inception, I wanted the foundation to be independent and have its own office. But during the initial period, we didn't have more than rupees 5,000 left in the bank at the end of every financial year, despite the annual funding. Somehow, the will to help others made having our own premises an extremely low priority. Still, the foundation kept short term fixed deposits and we carefully manage our cash flows to ensure interest, and over the years we managed to accumulate a sizable amount. One day I learned of a beautiful plot of land with an old building available for sale in the popular suburb of Jayanagar in Bangalore. The interest we had saved was just enough to purchase the land. Since the building was not suited for the needs of an office, it was obvious that at some point we would have to demolish it and build our own. So we decided to leave the land as it until we had saved some more. The next financial year too, we had less than rupees 5,000 in our bank account. Even though we had saved a little interest over the years, the construction cost was higher than the money we had, and building our office remained a dream. Year passed by, and finally, in 2002, the foundation was able to accumulate enough interest to begin construction. I was happy. My dream was about to come true. I got the ball rolling, contacted an architect, and instructed him to create a simple plan for us. A few days later, I received an invitation from a Middle Eastern country to speak at a ladies' association there. I decided to accept it because I had some talk scheduled in Dubai and Kuwait soon after. I wanted to complete all my assignments there during one trip and thus save money on the cost of air tickets. Soon I was on my way. Like all trips, this one too had many meetings and talks lined up. There were also events wherein the who's who of the Indian community in the region was expected to participate. It took courage for most of the people I met to leave their homes behind in India, settle in a foreign country, and still hold on to the culture and faith against many odds. People also spoke about the work we did or thought we did. Sometimes it was factual and sometimes a little exaggerated. Finally, the day came for my last speaking engagement. It was a good event with lively questions and discussion. When the function drew to a close, I prepared to leave for my hotel. A few women met me on their way out. Ma'am, would you like to buy anything here? They inquired politely. The shopping experience here is quite wonderful. Maybe you would like some pearls or gold? No, I replied. But is there anything interesting that I can see? The woman pondered for a moment, shook their heads, and said their goodbyes. Just then I noticed two women approaching me. One of them said in a low voice, Ma'am, we would like to invite you to our small shelter. Will you please consider it? What's there in your shelter? I asked. We want you to see it for yourself. We can tell you about the work we do in various ways, but I don't know which aspect of our work will strike a chord with you. My antenna went up. There was something about them and their humble manner that made me curious. I nodded. Please give me a few minutes. I'll come with you right now, I said. I thanked my host quickly and left the venue with the woman in tow. A short while later, I reached a small house in a residential area. At first glance, it seemed more of an outhouse to me. When we entered, I saw five women there, all in their nightwear. Some of them had swollen eyes and red marks on their cheeks. It was obvious that they were not in the best of health or happy in any way. Within a few minutes, we were all seated. What language should I speak in? I asked the woman who had brought me there. Hindi is okay. A little English is also fine. The woman began telling me their names and the states they were from. One was from Tamil Nadu, two from Andhra Pradesh, and one from Kerala. I exchanged a few pleasantries with them, and soon enough, Nazneem, the woman from Andhra Pradesh, started narrating her story. Madam, I was a maid in the district of Karimnagar years ago and had three daughters old enough to get married. An agent told me that I would earn much more in the Middle East for the same work I did in India. He told me that I would even get a 15-day vacation once a year with free air travel to see my family. I realized that if I work here for 3 years, I would save enough to bear the wedding expenses of all my daughters. It was everything I could ask for. Our financial troubles would go away. My husband, who is a vegetable vendor, kept reassuring me that he would look after the girls during my absence. He encouraged me to go as long as I kept in touch regularly. So, with my limited savings and by selling all the gold that I had, I paid for my passport, visa, travel fare, and the agent commission. Her eyes clouded over as memories came flooding back. When the time came to say goodbye, my heart left heavy and I was afraid. I had never even traveled from Karimnagar to the big city of Hyderabad. Then how would I travel abroad and manage things all alone in a country completely foreign to me? How would I be able to live away from my family? The agent assured me the family you are going to work for are kind. They are also of the same religion as you. You won't take too much time to adjust. I have already spoken to them. They will treat you as a family member. If you are unhappy, you can come back after a year or not return. I felt somewhat revealed, and for the first time in my life, I traveled to Hyderabad on my own and then took a flight from the city to come here. I interrupted her. Were you scared during the flight? Nazanin thought for a moment. Not really, she replied. In the airplane, I met many women just like me, both young and old, and I felt better knowing that I wasn't alone. Outside the destination airport, we were handed a burqa each and were directed to a bus. The heat was unbearable, and it felt like I was almost on fire. Karimnagar is a hot place in India, but the level of heat in this country cannot be described. Despite the scorching heat, the bus was not air conditioned. We were all expecting a luxurious bus like the agent had promised. We dismissed it as an error or a problem with bus availability. In fact, most of us believe that it might rain soon, like it happens in some parts of South India. An hour long ride later, the bus dropped us at a location from where we were taken to different houses for our new jobs. The house I was taken to was huge, beautiful, and air conditioned. I was given a tiny room near the kitchen. First, I met the house manager who took my passport and handed me some cleaning supplies and told me something in language I didn't understand. Thankfully, there was another woman housekeeper from India named Santosh who translated everything for me. Your work begins right now. Start cleaning the whole house and make it spotless. Madam has no tolerance for dust. Your meal timing are breakfast at 9 a.m., lunch at 3 p.m., and dinner at 10 p.m. Also, you must wear a burqa whenever you go outside the house. I took some time to unpack my bags and use the bathroom. Then I went back to search for Santosh. The supplies were good, and Santosh taught me how to use them and introduced me to some of the electronic cleaning equipment too. Over the next few days, I hardly saw the owner of the house. She was either out of the country or living on a different floor. I always reported to the house manager. Santosh and I began to get to know one another. One afternoon, when we had a few minutes alone, she asked me, "Why did you come here? This isn't such a good work environment. We work like donkeys from morning to night with minimal rest, and sometimes we have to endure the wrath of the house manager for no fault of ours. Though we have come for household work chores, we always get burdened with extra work. Look at me. I help in the kitchen, bath all the young children, iron all the clothes, and wash all the dishes. Now they have brought you here to clean the house, but that's not the only work you will be assigned. You may have to do the cook's job when he doesn't show up or run errands as and when needed. It doesn't matter as long as I get a good salary, I replied honestly. That's what I used to think too, said Santosh. There was sadness in her eyes. We don't get a rupee in our hands. Sometimes the owner says that the money has been deposited in a bank account or that it has been sent to our family. It's been a year since I came here, but I haven't received any payment directly. But our agent said, it doesn't matter what your agent said or who he is, they are all the same. They have lied to us and lured us into this country and job. We are poor and we fell for the hope they gave us. They know that once we get here, it's difficult to return. The agents know that we are all alone here. In this country, we can't even go out without a man accompanying us. The owners also keep our passports with them, making it impossible to leave this place. For the first time since landing there, I became afraid. I didn't know what to do. Santosh, you have been here for a year. When are you going back? Are you going to quit work or change jobs? We can't quit or change jobs without the owner's consent. Most of the bosses don't allow it. So I am trying my best to return, but I need money for a one-way ticket and my passport. Do you talk to your family back home? Yes, I write letters and hand them over to my agent, but I don't know whether it reached them. I haven't received even one reply yet. I only get to hear what the agent tells me about my family. I know that they have tried to call me here on the phone, but there are strict instructions against that according to the rules of this house. Madam doesn't want her staff to take personal calls on her landlines. However, I know that it isn't easy for them to call me here, and I don't want to share my difficulties with them. I hear that a lump sum amount is sent to them every 6 months, but once I get my ticket, I'll go back and never come back here. I was slightly relieved to hear that her family was getting some money. Aren't they supposed to send the money every month? I asked. The agents are much smarter than us. They keep a salary backlog of at least 6 months. If I go back to my country and don't return, then they will keep that money. So many people come back for their money and the cycle continues. To someone in our financial position, a 6 month salary is a big amount to walk away from. When are you planning to go home? It depends on the owners. Sometimes they send the workers home after 15 months or sometimes after 2 years. I don't know when they will decide to send me back. I can understand their language now, but still pretend not to. I have learned that Madam is going to India to enjoy the monsoon in Kerala. Since I am from the state and know the local language, she wants me to go with her and look after the children. I'll ask her then to allow me to visit my family for a few days, and if she does, I won't come back. I have reached a point where I don't even care about the money, said Santosh firmly. I could not sleep that night. Had I been duped by the agent? How much money will my family really get? With not many options at my disposal, I decided that the best way forward was to keep a low profile and continue working. For the first few weeks, things seemed okay. The staff was usually given leftover food, which was good, and I didn't have any complaints related to work. After some time had passed, I started getting extra chores, especially around the time Madam was leaving for a vacation to India. Santosh was going to go with them too, and I knew that she wouldn't come back. So I wrote letters to my family and requested her to mail them from India. Once Santosh and the family left the country, the house manager instructed me to take on all the Santosh work as well. Since the owner always entertained guests in his big mansion, there was a lot of cooking and cleaning to be done. There were a total of 14 children in the house, and each child would also frequently bring his or her friends over. I felt trapped like a bird in a cage. Since the work more than doubled, my efficiency reduced, and the house manager became upset and refused to listen to my concerns. She would show me a stick and say, "Don't complain about your work. You are being paid for it. I don't want to hear another word." When the unending workload became unbearable during the day, I would sit down and rest for a few minutes. If house manager found me resting, she would beat me with that same stick. That's when I recalled the marks on Santo's hand and realized how she had got them. Nobody ever beat me in my home. Though we were poor, we live with dignity. The loneliness and the excess work soon began affecting my health and my ability to work. I longed for my family, my children, and my friends. As the days went by, there was nothing but sadness left in my soul. I interjected, "With whom did you share your troubles with? Now what Santosh was gone?" "Nobody," said Nazneem. There was a male gardener who would visit and tend to lawn and plant outside the house, but I could not speak to him according to the country's rule. I couldn't go out as I only had 3 night dresses that I wore day and night. I was not allowed to wear the clothes that I had bought with me. I was only allowed to go shopping with the family, and even then I had to wear burqa on the top of my clothes. So I had no friends or acquaintances to speak to. Soon Madam came back from India, upset and furious. She said to the house manager, "Start keeping a close eye on these Indian women. Santosh never come back after she went home. She cheated me. So far now, don't allow this woman to go home any time soon." These words dampened my spirit, and I cried in the shadows, wondering when I would see my family again. One morning, I overheard a conversation between Madam and the house manager. "Whatever you say, Indian women are the best for household work," she told the manager. "They do their jobs quietly, don't answer back, or complain too much." The house manager said something unintelligible. "Recruit 2 more," she instructed. Not This is the first part of this chapter. We will conclude in the next video of this part. Till then, bye bye.